A running joke about Magic Gathering is that once you get into the hobby, you will lose money because it becomes addictive. Hence the nickname Cardboard Crack. For some, this is a true statement. The allure of finding that one great card that would be an excellent add to your deck that you know for a fact will make you win is too great for some. Once this chase for that card or cards is started, the further one will go down the rabbit hole to get that card. Hence the reason why Black Lotus sells for tens of thousands of dollars. However, the question remains, is there a correlation with addiction and the so-called cardboard crack? First, I need to start with a disclaimer. It must be stated that this video is purely based on opinion and my experience in training. This means that the information that I go over now should not be considered by any means a professional diagnosis. If you feel that you may have an addiction problem, then you should seek professional advice from a licensed therapist or counselor and not from some guy on a YouTube channel. So what is an addiction? People with addiction, severe substance use disorder, have an intense focus on using certain substances, such as alcohol or drugs, to the point that it takes over their life. They keep using alcohol or drugs even when they know it will cause problems. So how does this relate to being addicted to magic? Well, in this case, we would actually refer to the DSM-5 for another form of addiction, and that's gambling disorder. Gambling disorder would be a better match to what is being seen as being addicted to cardboard crack. Gambling involves risking something of value in hopes of attaining something of greater value. Therefore, in the case of Magic, the risk is purchasing of higher priced cards or multitudes of packs to obtain better cards in order to win in tournaments or even casual games. However, there is the feeling of chasing that money card in order to feel the euphoria of winning that card. Hence the nickname for these as being lottery cards. A few years ago, I owned an LGS with my wife. During that time, we would see those that were addicted to chasing that lottery card, as they would find it hard to stop at one pack or two to see what they can get. You could see it manifest as they would buy a pack and become disappointed in the card they got. Then would buy another pack only to be even more dissatisfied. Some of them could not resist the temptation to open a pack just to see if they got the high valued card. If they didn't, then they would continue buying and opening packs until they were satisfied with the cards they got, or they ran out of money. This would be considered chasing one's losses and a gambling disorder. In order for one to be considered having a gambling disorder, they must have a persistent and recurrent problematic gambling behavior leading to clinically significant impairment or distress. This would be indicated by the individual exhibiting 4 or more of the following in a 12-month period. Needs to gamble with increasing amounts of money in order to achieve this desired excitement. Is restless or irritable when attempting to cut down or stop gambling. Has made repeated unsuccessful efforts to control, cut back, or stop gambling. Is often preoccupied with gambling, having persistent thoughts of reliving past gambling experiences, handicapping, or planning the next venture, thinking of ways to get money with which to gamble. Often gambles when feeling distress, in other words, helpless, guilty, anxious, depressed. After losing money gambling, often returns another day to get even, chasing one's losses. Lies to conceal the extent of involvement with gambling. Has jeopardized or lost a significant relationship, job, or educational or career opportunity because of gambling. Relies on others to provide money to relieve the desperate financial situations caused by gambling. To put this in perspective, think about your relationship with Magic the Gathering and how you approach your interest in the game. Are you the type of person that just plays with whatever deck you can afford? Are you the type of person that has to have the better cards so that you can have better deck? Are you the type of person who collects the best of the cards printed and will spend any amounts of money to obtain those cards? Once you've answered these questions, look back at the DSM-5 criteria for gambling disorder and apply this to yourself. However, this time read the questions as if they were questions pertaining to Magic. Needs to buy Magic cards with increasing amounts of money spent on cards, packs in order to achieve the desired excitement. Is restless or irritable when attempting to cut down or stop buying cards or packs or losing games. Has made repeated unsuccessful efforts to control, cut back, or stop buying cards or packs. Is often preoccupied with buying cards or packs or playing games. Often buys cards, packs when feeling distressed. After losing money buying packs, often returns another day to get more packs. Lies to conceal the extent of involvement with buying cards or packs. Has jeopardized or lost a significant relationship, job, or educational or career opportunity because of buying cards, packs, or playing Magic. Relies on others to provide money to relieve the desperate financial situations caused by buying cards, packs, or playing Magic. Now, after answering these questions, did you find that you could honestly answer at least 4 of those questions in the affirmative? Congratulations, you have a gambling disorder. Don't let that get you down if you do find out you have a problem. There are ways in order for you to stop or reduce the amount of money or time you're spending on the game. Unlike most Magic players who can stop buying packs or cards when they have reached the financial limit, those that do have a compulsive gambling problem, or in this case Magic, they're compelled to keep spending their money to get the better cards. This is a pattern that becomes increasingly destructive over time. So when should you seek professional help? While it is not known exactly why anybody develops a compulsion to gamble, like many other problems, gambling could result from a combination of biological, genetic, and environmental factors. If you're having friends, family, and coworkers express concern about your issues, then you will want to listen to them, as denial is always a feature of compulsive or addictive behavior. This means that it will be difficult for you to realize that you have a problem. If you do recognize your own behavior from the list of signs and symptoms that we previously talked about, you should seek professional help. So what are some of the risk factors that you should be looking for? It is true that most people that play cards or wager never develop a gambling problem. There are certain factors that are more often associated with the disorder. The first risk factor would be mental health disorders. People that do gamble compulsively often have a substance use disorder, personality disorder, depression, or even anxiety. Compulsive gambling has been known to be associated with bipolar disorder, obsessive compulsive disorder, or attention deficit disorder. Age is another risk factor. Younger and middle-aged people are more likely to be compulsive gamblers, and it has been shown that if you gamble during your childhood or teenage years, it increases your chances of becoming a compulsive gambler. While this is true, it is also true that older adults can develop a gambling problem as well. Another risk factor is sex. No, not the giggity kind. Compulsive gambling is more prevalent in men than women. Surprise, surprise. However, women who gamble do start later in life and are more apt to become addicted quickly. Studies have shown that gambling patterns among men and women have become increasingly similar. Family or friends can influence you too. So how many were introduced to Magic gambling by a friend? If so, was that friend compulsive in their buying habits? If so, this is an indicator that you may develop a problem as well. In fact, I can remember multiple times in my store in which one guy would open several packs and strike a lotto card, encouraging others to join in and see if they can get one as well. Of course, I always had to open a new box for them because they knew that there wouldn't be another lotto card in that same box. Another one is medications used to treat Parkinson's disease and restless leg syndrome. These drugs that are dopamine agonists do have a rare side effect that may result in compulsive behavior, including gambling in some people. And finally, certain personality characteristics. Those found to be more competitive, a workaholic, impulsive, restless, or easily bored have a higher chance of having a risk to compulsive gambling. So what are some of the complications? As I've talked about earlier in this video, there could be profound and long-lasting consequences if you develop a gambling disorder. These include relationship problems, financial problems including bankruptcy, legal problems or imprisonment, poor work performance or job loss, poor general health, suicide attempts, or suicidal thoughts. So how does one prevent developing compulsive gambling disorder, or in our case, a compulsive cardboard crack disorder? Begin by addressing the issue with what is known as thought-stopping techniques. This is when you have begun thinking about opening a pack or buying a box, or even worse, that awesome secret lair. Before you commit, stop and ask yourself if it is worth it. Do your research into whether that box, card, or promotional product is really worth it. If you haven't yet, watch some of the Professor's Is It Worth It videos. Make sure you can afford that product before you buy it. Lastly, see if there are some cards that you already have that you can trade in your local gaming store to decrease the cost of that product if you really have to have it for your deck. Above all else, do not charge your purchase to a credit card. That extra interest on your purchase is not worth it. Save that credit card for emergency purchases only.